Welcome to Tales from the Caveside, where Lillian and Chris, we bought a cave house and finca on the outskirts of a small Spanish town. Follow us as we learn to renovate and create a home that we will be proud of.
We found?
Well, not found, but it was a piece of wood, and it was actually quite pretty with the way bugs have eaten it and everything else like that. So it's wobbling, so hopefully it won't be much further in. I've cleared a lot around it and wiggled it, but it doesn't quite want to come out yet, so I'll just, I'm not sure, maybe there. Well, that was a big piece of wood. It was held in with something, but it's not rotten at this end.
Yeah, you can see where the wasps and things were eating it last year. We saw them going in and out of the wall and not realising they were going for this wood. Pretty. Add it to the collection
Of
random pieces of things. Chris has not long dug this out of the wall.
I think it may be a plough attachment or something
It was in the wall.
agricultural. I can't imagine it being anything else.
It was in the wall like that.
No, the other way around.
How was it?
It was in the wall, just like that.
So we had access, we only saw these bits, didn't know the rest of this existed.
Yeah. It had a washing line on it originally, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was here. There you go. Well, that's where it was.
Crazy.
So,
Be interesting to see what that one is like, as to whether it's just a straight L or whether it's got some weird shape in the back holding it in. You can see the bit of washing line that was on it that we cut off.
yeah, but that's been hammered in.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that.
Maybe we'll leave it as a feature.
Yeah,
What say you?
possibly. Maybe hang something from it.
Yes. Yet another hole. That's the hole from where the bit of wood just came out. Just down from it. The problem is this machine won't use the light. But it's big. I don't want to go any further in case there's something in there. But this gives you an idea of the depth of the hole. A few hours later, all we've achieved is this little pile here of rubbish. This little pile here. You're beginning to see the rocks in the wall. You can see the rocks in the wall and the big holes. And this is the beginning of the second collection of random things found in the wall.
Yeah, but that spike was actually buried inside the wall and then cemented over the top.
Yeah, when I came across it, all you could see was this little tiny edge here. And it turned out it was that. Crazy. So yeah. Having to do it by hand because it turns out some of these rocks seem to be facing rocks as opposed to structural, but one piled on top of the other. We don't dare take a motor pico to it, a SDS drill. And it may be a question of reconstruction, or certainly not putting plaster in, putting mortar in. There you go, mortar in before, to make this solid before then taking down here. Don't know. Fluidity.
Yes, and I've just noticed, after taking this off, a brick or a square object,
Yes.
cement, lintel, brick, don't know, and it has a friend here,
Yes.
and what looks like possibly
A shelf.
a shelf.
Now, I haven't told you about it, but I've been taking off here, and this goes right in. This one goes, sorry on the camera, this one goes right in. And these seem to be patching something. They're only that depth.
This
Just
has
that.
got plaster or something on this side. I never spotted that. You never said about that when you walked away.
Well,
And
no.
then time for a bacon lettuce sandwich.
Okay, end of day one of taking the cement like this off this area of the wall. We haven't been able to do anything above. Well, we've taken some off underneath. We're actually going to have to make good before we can continue above, because there are some holes there you can lose your whole arm in. And much as we said at lunchtime we would tackle this bit, which had these two and then funny sort of looking lintel there, we haven't gone that far. But we have got a bit here that is screaming that maybe that used to be an old window. Well, not many weeks ago, the almonds were in flower. And look already, we're going to have some buttes. Apparently it's due to be a cracking harvest this year, which means they'll be worthless, but that's fine. We like to eat them. Make marzipan. And spring has definitely sprung. There are some beautiful flowers. These never flowered last year. The colours popping on that, absolutely beautiful. Even the weeds are pretty. At the end of the day, what's a weed? Just a plant where you don't want it. That's an artichoke. There's quite a few in here. That's our big fig tree in the garden. More artichoke. And over here, ooh, this little fig tree, yes it has, it's got baby figs. The first crop of figs have a different name, I can't remember now, I'll look it up, let you know. And then they have a second crop, which is what we know of as a fig. They call the first one something else. This is the big fig tree up in the garden. You can see all the fruit on there. We cut this back a lot last year. It was so heavy with fruit that it was actually hitting the ground. It was mad. And, oh, sorry for the light, I'll turn around. Even the olives are in flower. Or actually no longer in flower, they're in fruit. Beginnings of. Just look at the state of him today.
What?
Okay.
I'm dressed to impress. Right, we're carried on. We've had time off. It's been about a bank holiday weekend. So we haven't done anything. Not because we didn't want to, but out of respect, it's a religious weekend. So we don't think we should be working and making noise. You know, it's a peace time for the families locally. So we've had a few. We've had what 4 days of doing nothing again. God dear. Anyway, we were talking to the neighbours who live here, and the lady of the house, her family owned all of this in times gone by. It was a big farm, and as things happen in history and now and everything, families drift away and move to other places and do other things. The younger ones don't want to take over the farming and things like that, so it all got split. And so family part 1 had this piece of land, family part 2 had this piece of land, family part 3 had this piece of land, and so on and so on and so on. So those kept as like holiday homes, so they come back from the cities and had somewhere to stay. This is actually what happens in Spain as well, and I'm sure in many, many other European countries. We met them when we first moved in. In fact, they called the police the first day that we was here because they didn't know anybody had bought this place, and they heard noises. So they called the police, somebody's broken into these caves. We don't know who they are. We hear voices. Fortunately, the police were already aware that we'd arrived, that they knew who was coming. So they said, no, it's fine, it's the new owners. But neighbourhood watch, eat your heart out. Absolutely brilliant. Everybody looks out for everybody. Anyway, I'm rambling on, like I do. So, these were definitely post holes, which form part of a roof. This was the stables. This here, as we presumed may have been a window, actually turns out it wasn't actually a window, but then again it was a hatch for feeding, for throwing in the food that came from upstairs that we have as a bedroom, or will have as a bedroom once completed. There's an alcove up there, which turns out it was double doors. And here, which we thought may have been a windowsill, was actually a feeding trough. So that's thrown in, put in there, so we didn't have to go all the way round and everything. We did ask them a while ago, when we first moved here and got talking to them, if they knew the history of the place, and they was not very forthcoming. But that's family histories, and obviously that some people are a bit more private than others about what happened and what's what. So anyway, we saw them at the weekend, and we said, oh, we found this, we found that, we found the other. Do you know anything about old buildings? And that's how we started the conversation, and the lady of the house said, yes, when I was a little girl, I can remember this about being for the feeding, and the double doors that were up there, and this was stories that there was no stairs, or at least she can't remember if there were stairs. There may have been stairs, but blanked off, so like with a hatch or something like that. She doesn't remember. She never saw downstairs. She doesn't remember downstairs. But yeah, this was stables, and it had donkeys.
So,
yeah, so I started doing this, and this part of rock and everything here started crumbling away, as you can see. We know this is secure, but we don't want to tempt fate. So put these bricks in, wedge the little rock in there for now. So I need to make that work, and then need to fill this anyway, because it's going to be blanked off. Yeah, I've got to get this supported up soon. It's stable at the moment, but as we said before, we don't want to be breaking out and this falling down. I need to cut off this part as well. So I've got grinder just to grind through this here. And as you can see, it's very, 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 very secure. It's here. Look at that. Yeah, it's nice and strong.
well, the morning of removing this, unfortunately, went as expected, not as we'd hoped. We were hoping just this layer would come off, but it's eaten away at everything. So this afternoon, we're going to have to make some lime mortar with NHL5, so it's strong to start making good. You look done in.
Yeah, already playing. It's been a day.
Again,
Okay, another day.
we're good at days.
Yes, yes we are. This has turned into a bit of a nightmare. We thought we got it all out, double checked. We hadn't. So it doesn't look that much, but it's in a very long way. And more crumbly rocks, and there's broke out some more bits that was further underneath that need to be sorted out. Discovered that the rock behind was also falling to bits. So all that lot had to come out until it hit solid. So that's marble rocks, because we know they're about as strong as they're going to get here, in NHL5 mortar. And we've now been discussing that because of the way it is, we may plaster it and have it this way, because to put a rock there to make it stay, it's going to be a bit of a thing, because we have to build out, which will then close the door all off. So
Yeah, no, I think we'll leave it as a feature. So much people have arches at the top, sort of thing.
yeah, we've got one on the side.
This will be an arch on the side.
Yeah, it's like a foot arch.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll have to do something when this gets chopped back. But for now, that's solid. And this is Lillian's wall, apparently. It's all hers. Because she's done this. And it's really, really good. So, NHL 5. That's rude. I'd put that away if I was you, young lady. Otherwise, you'd be in detention. NHL 5 again. Using for structural. Where there were bigger holes, such as here and down there, rocks were put back in again, tacked in with this thing that I keep tripping over. Knock them in, not with a hard end, with a rubber end, just to bang them in, get them in. Another part here, down here, and we're just trying to stabilise the whole wall before we go up there. As I was knocking some of the rocks in down here, it was like little bits falling off, and it's sort of like, so now it's going to be secure. And it was all going to be plastered, lime plastered, because I'm sure everybody gets sick of us saying about lime, but it's the product to have on all this stuff. It breathes. Yes, it gets more damp, but it gets a damp out.
Here in the corral, we see man in his native habitat. He's got his Crocs. He's got his toolbox out. He's dealing with nuts and bolts. He's happy. He's not dealing with lime and rocks.
Yeah.
Look at the smile. He's actually happy. We bought a thing off Amazon. Let's see if we can make it. And now we have a thing. Ta-da!
Okay. Health and safety is absolutely redundant in this thing. It's just a quick practice, and I'm standing well clear.
Yay!
Thanks for watching the latest episode of Tales from the Caveside. If you enjoy what we're doing, please like and subscribe. We would really appreciate it.